Hey guys, what is up? Unrested back again, and today I'm showing you a cool little street march for 2025 Japan Expo. This is something that's obviously not happening for another almost 2 years. It's going to be happening at the end of 2025. It's going to be all these different sports and things that they're going to be playing, kind of their own sort of mini Olympics that's going to be going on, as well as a lot of fanfare and stuff like that. They are super excited to have this start in Osaka City. So this is kind of their march through the city. This started at 7 a.m. in the morning, and it's a Sunday here. So I can only imagine the people who were out drinking in the downtown area that I live in last night were really in for a super rude awakening. Anyway, that said, let me get into what we're talking about today. Japan, the most unhappy country in the world. Is it true? And Scott, where are you even getting those statistics from? This is coming from the 2024 edition of the World Happiness Report, listed on sdg.iisd.org. You can check it out yourself. It measures over 140 different countries. Japan is not the absolute lowest on the list. If you want me to immediately drop to what the most unhappy country in 2024 is, it's Afghanistan. Sorry, Afghanistan. That sucks. I'm sorry. But there is a lot of things that brings Japan very, very low on the list. We're talking near the bottom, third to the bottom on this list. And it's kind of a sad thing to read about because, like I said, I love this country. There's a lot here I love. It's a beautiful country. It's amazing. And there's so many things I feel like are getting kind of crushed by the economy, crushed by politicians who just don't care, crushed by a certain level of stubbornness, which is sometimes the Japanese strength is how stubborn they are. Like they can push through anything. They really know how to ganbatte and get through any sort of hardship. Look at them post-World War II, how much they built the country up and had one of the strongest economies in the world until the bubble era popped everything and brought it back down. Japan can strive and get through anything. They are a people that can come together, work in harmony, get through natural disasters like no other country can. That is the stubbornness and resilience that keeps the Japanese people surviving. But at the same time, that same stubbornness is sometimes their downfall. Reluctancy to update, to innovate, to use new technology. We've still got ward offices using paper to record documents, and when they burn down, they lose a whole city's documents. We've got people still using flip phones who refuse to move on to smartphones. We've got people who refuse to incorporate credit card systems into their companies or computers and stuff like that, which, look, I get it, especially small mom and pop shops. They get charged a certain percentage when it comes to credit cards, but especially now when Japan's living off the influx of tourists, it might be time to update some of that stuff if you want to survive in an economy that just dropped to the fourth lowest rank on the world economy. But there's other stuff that I really want to talk about on a social level. And this is not just my personal opinion. This is things listed by Japanese. And this is actually, I'm also bringing in the opinion of my wife on this one. I read this report and immediately I went to my wife and I said, listen, I just read this report. The 2024 World Happiness Report said Japan is ultra low on the list. It's the lowest it's ever been. What's your opinion on this? And she pretty much broke it down for me in an order of from early childhood to adulthood. And she was systematic, absolutely surgical with her dissection of this. And that's why I love this woman. What an intelligent person I always look up to. I mean, my wife every time I ask her input on anything, she's doing it in a second language and she's still always blowing me away with her level of intelligence. It's insane to me. Anyway, enough bragging about my wonderful wife. Early childhood, let's start with that. Early childhood begins, and this is some of my own experience too, I'm going to add that to it, but early childhood begins with studying. Study, okay? We're talking study begins even when a child is very young, and we're talking as young as like kindergarten, okay? Kindergarten age. Even my own son, both of my sons actually, started at Juku. If you don't know what Juku is, I'll explain it again for those new to the channel. It's a cram school. When we say cram, that means like stuffing as many things into your mind as possible in a short amount of time. So cramming your mind full of math, science, geometry, not English, Japanese kanji, all different types of stuff. And they go to this school after regular school. So imagine you have a full day of kindergarten, however many hours that is. I believe kindergarten usually runs like 8:45 to 2:30, maybe a little bit earlier than that it lets out. And then from 3 o'clock to sometimes as late as 7, you go to a cram school. And this is from the ages of like 4, as young as even, 3, I've seen kids start. I think the place my son went, it was a Juku that started from 3.5 on up to 6 for kindergarten. Then you get into the big leagues and you start elementary school, and Juku becomes like a part-time job for a kid. They have their normal school hours of 7:45 to about 3:30, and then they go to Juku from about 4 o'clock to as late as 9 o'clock, sometimes as late as 11 o'clock at night. And when it reaches the final year of elementary school, you're about to enter into middle school, and you are cramming so much information into your head, and the stress is so high because the competition to get into these middle schools that are worth anything in Japan is just brutal. And I'm talking brutal like your name is put up on a board and compared to other kids' names at that school to see what level you're on and what chance you have to beat them out to get into the school of your choice. Let me tell you, I know this very well because my own son's name was a Gaijin name, and his name popped out in front of everybody's name. Lucky for me, my kid inherited my wife's genes, and he's like a mini genius. I was the worst student ever in school. My name would have never even been on these lists. I would have been so far below that they would have been like, oh, we don't have enough ranking levels to list you at the bottom, Mr. Ackerman. You're too useless for our Juku. My son was always near the top. He was either at the top or like second to the top. And this was such a big deal that like kids' parents from other Jukus and the Juku he went to would stop him in the street on his way home and be like, are you that kid whose name is at the top? Are you? Because he looks, foreign. He's like a white kid in the middle of Japan. And his name was super foreign. So it would be spelled out in katakana instead of kanji, which really makes it pop out very different from other kids' names. And they would literally stop him in the street. Like parents would question, they'd be like, what is your method? Can you please explain to me what you do to memorize so much so I can tell my own son to copy what you do? This is the level that parents are getting at with the level of competition to ace these tests. And when we finally arrived at the end of this giant 6-year cram, and I'm saying 6 years, but like I said, it starts in kindergarten, so we're talking almost 9 years because kindergarten goes on for 3 years in Japan. You have K1, K2, K3. 9 years of his life studying for a test, and this test determines everything. If he fails this test, he will not go to the school he's always wanted to go to. If he fails the next level of this test, he may be reduced to just only using public school. And that means like everything that we put him through and all the studying he did amounted to nothing because anybody can just go to public school. Now, I'm not knocking public school. I'm not mocking anybody who goes there. Japan has decent public schooling. There's nothing wrong with it. I myself teach at a public school. So, I'm not anti-public school. But in Japan, your colleges and everything, look at what middle school you went to, what high school you went to. And on top of it, if you do go to public middle school, you then also have to take a test to be able to enter into high school. If you get into the middle school and pass those tests, you are guaranteed to be able to go through the high school connected to the middle school you joined. So does that make sense? That's why you want to get in there. So you've saved yourself a second set of doing these kind of tests again for another part of your life. That's another reason a lot of kids want to pass these tests because they get to skip the high school one unless they go to public school, and then they have to take a public school test to pass on to the next level. Does all that make sense? Am I making sense here? I hope so. And we're building up to that at this point. 9 years of my son doing this. And there's days where he is so tired, he is crying. Like there is some days he lost hair from his head, like hair literally fell out of his head because he was so stressed out. There's days where his skin has rashes on it because he's not getting enough sleep. And, as a parent, of course, I'm terrified. I'm stressed out. My wife and I are stressed out. We're talking about this. What more can we do for him? We're preparing like super healthy lunches for him, making sure to bring him lunches around the clock, dinner around the clock, food, a tea, whatever he needs. He can literally call us and I will bike from my house to school to bring it to him. Do you need some kind of medication or skin salve to put on your rash right now? We got him treatment for his hair. We did all this extra stuff to like make sure every part of his life was taken care of during this time. And he, the most hardcore thing about all this is he wanted this. We gave him chance over and over. We're like, if you do not want to keep doing this, you tell us and we quit. We quit all this stuff. We take you out of these. No, I want to be at the top. And my oldest son is ultra competitive and he loved the competition aspect of this. Like, he's a machine. I don't know how he does it. Like I said, he's got my wife's spirit. My wife is like that too. She will compete to the bitter end. Nothing will get in her way. My younger son, he's more like me, kind of wacky, happy-go-lucky, like, whatever, I'll do what I want. I'll get there somehow, but I'll do it my way. Like, that's more my youngest son. And we even asked him early on, we said, do you want to go through the same testing and everything that our oldest son went through? And he was like, no. So that's why he's in America, going to school in America. And that's why I travel back there in another couple of months and start his next school year there. But this is what I'm talking about now with my oldest son. This is what every kid in Japan goes through from the early childhood age of kindergarten up through elementary school. So imagine starting your life like this. You're already a workaholic. If you're going to be competitive, if you're going to get a career that is going to ensure your future is complete as far as pay, as far as entrance exams, as far as colleges you will go to, the entire future hangs on the balance of a 6-year cram for a test that if you do not pass, you may just ruin everything. There's kids who have committed suicide from not completing these tests, run away from home because they didn't complete these tests. Like there was a kid in Tokyo during the time that my son was taking this test. They could not find him for 16 days. And when they finally found him, they asked him why he ran away from home. And it was because this test was coming up. That was it. He couldn't handle the stress anymore. It broke him. So imagine like you as a student in America or wherever you're listening to from right now, could you handle this? Could you handle this? And imagine your life starts with this. And it doesn't end here because this is pretty much a mirror image of what work life is like once the Japanese get into their career. But let's move on from there into college life. College life is competition once again. Just to get into the college that you want to get into, you will be taking these tests again. Yes, my son will be going back to Juku when he gets close to college to be able to pass the test to get into the university he wants to get into. I believe he wants to get into Tokyo University, which is insane hardcore. It's pretty much the Harvard of Japan here, and that's what he wants to do. I support him 100%. Of course, I'll do whatever he needs. I'll pay for whatever he needs. He's gambatte his whole life. He's, bent over backwards to pass everything and crush every hurdle he's ever had. So I'm there for him 100%. At the same time, if he decides one day I want to be a garbage man, I support him 100%. Whatever is going to make my son happy, I will support him 100%. He now will have to go through all this again. You're going to get into the competition of passing tests to get into colleges. These colleges will then be what chooses your job for you in the future, who will be recruiting you straight from college. And to get into these recruiting panel interviews and seminars and stuff like that, you need to pass another line of testing to go on to those. And these are like multiple level interviews where you're panel interviewed by multiple people. You've got to come in, you've got to hand write your resume so they can see how well you can write kanji. You need a picture added on so that you can see you meet the kind of idea of what they have for the image of an employee. There's people, if they are too fat, they will not get hired. There's people who are accused of having metabolic syndrome, which is like metabolic syndrome, being too large for their company, and they're worried about, if you're under our health plan, how will we be able to pay for your health bill if you have diabetes? This is real stuff that people face in Japan. There is discrimination like this. They've talked about it before, like, oh no, we're becoming more accustomed to like worldviews of like not to discriminate against stuff like that. And we've learned things like power harassment and sekuhara, sexual harassment and all that, but we're trying to incorporate those into our company. And this stuff still goes on. You can literally still put an ad in the paper right now to hire someone saying, looking for a cute 25-year-old girl to work our desk job because we want a cute employee to welcome guests into our company. You can post that right now, and that's not considered against the law or discriminatory or anything like that. They can say, like, only Japanese people are allowed to apply to this job, no gaijin, please. Like, There's, they can say they're doing stuff like this, but are they really? No, not really. There's not any kind of enforceable law that stops companies from doing this kind of stuff. So already you're being pulled from a herd where they call anyone who they decide does not meet their company expectations physically, mentally, even aesthetically. Okay, you're getting pruned from this giant herd of college graduates. Not only from there, you're also choosing a license you will be locked into for the rest of your life. Okay, I want you to think about that aspect. If you had to choose your job that you would work forever from college when you were 20 something years old, would you be happy for the rest of your life being locked into that job with no way to recorrect your course or head down any job path in your life? As Americans, this is hard for us to imagine. By the time I finished college, I had probably worked 13 different jobs, jumped from job to job to job to job. Did I take them super serious? Of course not. I was a stupid teen. All right. I worked these part-time jobs like I was a part-timer, like I didn't care. I was just learning what I liked and didn't like about jobs. But each one of these little jobs that I worked did teach me some aspect that I enjoyed. It also taught me like what kind of job I wouldn't like, what kind of boss I wouldn't like, what kind of people I couldn't work with. But imagine this. You decide you want to work for this company. You get locked into the license that will only let you work that kind of job. Retraining into another license later in life, very difficult. You go through the college courses to get that license for that job. You join that company and you find it is the worst environment you've ever been in your life. You find out your boss is like a power harassment jerk. You find out the people you work with share nothing in common with you, and you are the outcast of your workplace. This is the kind of stuff people go through sometimes here in Japan that locks them into a very unhappy realm of life. Now, looking down the list, of other things that perturbed people about the jobs was number one, that once you get your license, you're locked into that job, you're working it forever. If you ever decide to quit or change jobs, you better do it super early in life, because trying to change your job when you hit an age like my age, 40 or even 50, it's considered almost impossible in Japan. A lot of people do not want to hire you once you get past your early 20s in Japan. You're considered Christmas cake, something that's been kept too long in the closet. No one wanted to eat it, so you eventually got to throw it away. No one wants it. You're outdated, okay? And this is a very sad fact about Japan. We can recourse our life in America all the time. I taught here in Japan for 15 years and then decided I wanted to come to America and teach art. And I was very easily able to do that within the first 2 weeks that I was back in America. I was offered all other kind of jobs while I was out there. People asked me if I wanted to be an escape room host. I was offered that job. I was offered all different types of goofy jobs. Of course, I took the art job because I'm an artist. I love art. But this is not something that would happen in Japan. You wouldn't be getting all these different job offers from different companies, and they would be asking you like, where's your license for escape room host? Like, there's a license for everything in Japan. You laugh, you think that's funny, but there actually is like licenses for every single thing you can imagine in Japan, and you need to have it to be official. There's like mini schools and stuff like that. There's little trade schools you join and stuff like that, but to get into one of these and change the whole course of your life is very hard as you get later into life. So then you're locked into this. And imagine you find out the career you chose when you were 20 and barely knew anything about the world was not the thing you wanted to do for the rest of your life. How would you live out the rest of your life grinding day by day? People always talk about the benefits of the fact that once you get a job in Japan, it's very hard to get fired. That is true. It's very hard to get laid off. Not as true now. People are starting to get laid off as the economy gets worse and worse. But you have like a lifetime guarantee almost. But what if that guarantee was you're guaranteed to work a job you hate forever? How happy would your life be? Not only that, imagine that job you work is not an 8-hour job like you were told. We see people in America when they say, I work full time. What does that mean? What does that mean in America? 8 hours, right? 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. Maybe you have weekends off if you're lucky. Maybe you don't. I myself work way more than 8 hours a day when I work as a teacher, but I still get summer off, okay? Japanese teachers don't get summer off. You got to think about that. In Japan, there's no such thing as an 8-hour workday. You work as long as the boss wants you there working. You may have a 12-hour day. You may have a 15-hour day. You may never see your kids as they grow up because you are a salary man who needs to spend 15 hours a day at the office because you don't leave till the boss, who owns the company and wants to be there all the time, leaves. And sometimes even when he does leave, he says, guys, tonight I want to go drinking. And you can't shy away from company loyalty. So guess what? Now you're going out drinking after a 15-hour workday and you're not getting home till almost midnight or 1 a.m. And you're going to start the whole process off again at 8 the next morning. By the time you get home, your kids are asleep, your wife's asleep, your daughter, son, kids, whatever, they grow up their whole life almost never seeing you. What's the point of even having a family? So a lot of people aren't having a family now in Japan. If you never get to see them, if you have to work so much that you never get to take care of them, if you get to work so much that you never get to do things like have a fun trip to Universal Studios or take them to Disney or just even go to a water park on the weekend, what's the point of working or having kids or working to take care of a family, right? So now you're getting the worst of both worlds. People are barely ever taking full-time jobs anymore. They're working all these tiny part-time jobs, and they're not having families. So the population's going down. So now even old people are unhappy because they're not getting as much benefits anymore because no one wants to take these jobs that they worked when they were younger, because those people are realizing, I never saw my dad. I never saw my mom. They were at work so long. I never got a childhood with them. Why would I want to do that to another child? So the whole system is super broken, and it's really showing up in the level of happiness here in Japan, which is ranked one of the lowest in the world right now, which is sad because there was a time where we had one of the happiest places in the world. I believe Finland, Malta, and there's like a small town out in Okinawa that had the highest level of happiness in the world and the longest life expectancy. Japan's off that list now. There's no super happy place in Japan anymore. Things are falling apart. And it's sad to see because, like I said, I love this country. There are some very happy experiences I've had here. I've been very lucky to work a normal 8-hour job when I lived here working full time, and I was able to help my kids grow up. My wife is very lucky because she pretty much creates her own hours due to the way her business works. So she has more than enough time to spend with our kids and take really good care of them. And now I have the experience of being able to take my kids internationally because they also have an American passport now too. So even if things go horribly, horribly wrong with how happy Japan is, I just move everybody over to the States. But what does that say for the rest of Japan that doesn't have that escape plan? It's a rough situation. What do you guys think about this report? Japan being one of the most unhappy places on earth. And if you don't believe me, if you need other sources and stuff like that, and this website that I sent you to isn't enough, check out Joey the Anime Man. He just did a video on the same topic, and he's got even other things he listed on there as well, in his view of how the country is working and what he sees that kind of angers him. I want you to go watch his video too. Tell him Unrested sent you, and he'll be like, who the hell's Unrested? Get the hell off my channel. Well, he's a super nice guy. That guy's awesome. I really respect his channel and his views on Japan. He's really grown into an amazing YouTuber. But seriously, watch his video for another perspective on this, and you'll get some other ideas about how Japan is unhappy right now. And I want to hear your ideas below as well. I want to hear the things you have to say about what you think is making Japan unhappy. And before I go, I want to just say thank you to everyone who's been viewing, liking, upvoting, thumbs up, and subscribing. My subscribers, my views, my everything has been going up recently. I cannot believe it. If you want to do a little more to help out with the channel, feel free to hit that join button for $1.90 a month. You can become a member. I can't believe how many members I have now, and I need to get all of them a shout out since I wasn't able to in the last video. So let me do that right now with all my members. We've got, hold on, give me a second. Raymond Beckman, Jay, Aaron Spooner, SSG Sax Gamer, Eviscerations, Naz L, Ryan, Makoto OTP, Kaiser Grendel, Bridget Walton, Jones G, and Andy with 2 Y's, sorry Andy, Carolyn Markey, Mitchell, Colin Kopeta, Impressive Tony, Matt Lee, Silver Stitch 28, Josas Casilius, Murphy, Draz Creates, Light Lolouch, Smile Kita 13, Wormself, Chrissy Meow, Obscuric, Sriracha, Frorasu, No Dub Only Raw, Harry Richardson, Citrus, Steve Ring, Fat Jaskins, Sprinkly Donut, Yodadu, Ricardo Contreras, Anna Loki, Slayer Duck, Blind Man Travels, Jonas Slocum, Ice Cold, Reinhardt or Die Trying, Trek Nick, and I Am Sandpaper. Thank you guys so much. You keep the channel going. I love you. Anyway, guys, until next time, I've been Unrested. and I hope you have a great rest of the day.